Okay, so I've been debating all day on whether to make a video on this, and well, if I decide to upload this, then here we are, I guess. So, Nick Briggs had has responded to the Timeless Child. The thing is, though, there are many stories giving many twists. The first, I think, was obviously the Radio Times interview, which is then essentially a copy and paste. However, they try and make it a bit more negative on this one than on the Radio Times one they do. But essentially, what's the gist of it? Because I have read it, and you can read it yourself in your own time, but the gist of it essentially is that Nick Briggs was obviously asked, will there be Doctor Who spin-offs with either the Morbius Doctors or the Ruth Doctors? And Nicholas Briggs said no, because they don't have the license for that. They only have the license up to the end of the Capaldi era. But he basically also said, all this has happened in the fandom before. In 1969, imagining what it was like for people at the time, finding out that the Doctor was a Time Lord. And then he mentions in The Daily Assassin in 1977. And they're a bit different from now, because The Timeless Child is not world building, it's world retconning. There's a massive difference between, world building and a retcon. Because world building is adding to something, something that we didn't already know, or adding something new to the world. Retconning is changing something that we already knew, or changing something that was already established. The Timeless Child is a retcon. The War Games and Deadly Assassin, they are world building. So, just to establish the difference on those two. So, what do I think about this? Because you could say possibility for the future of doing them. Will Big Finish do a Ruth Doctor spin-off or Morbius Doctor spin-off when they eventually will get the license? Probably when the Whittaker era ends. Now, a lot of people have said no, they won't, or the smart decision is not to do them. And the thing is, that is the smart decision, not to do them at all. And for the most part, Nick Briggs has kind of stayed away, so, he hasn't made his feelings either way. And I'm wondering if this is his legitimate opinion. Because Nicholas Briggs, he's kind of got to stay very, very neutral on everything. Because you look at it from one hand, he's got the BBC, on his back, and he wants to obviously keep the BBC happy, because he wants to obviously keep the BBC license for Big Finish, and also keep his job at the BBC for voicing the Daleks and the Monsters, etc. While at the same time, he's obviously the executive producer of Big Finish. He directs Big Finish. In fact, today there was the announcement of the Lost Story Return of the Cybermen, which he will be voicing the Cybermen in, as well as directing, and is the script editor for. And with Big Finish, he's got to please the fans. And the reason he's got to please the fans is the fans are the people who buy them. He's said it many times himself. They can only continue to make them as long as people continue to buy them. And Big Finish's, overall audience is classic Doctor Who fans, generally. Or people who prefer the classic era because, well, apart from David Tennant and, a few spin-offs like new series units and River Song and here and there, the vast majority of it is classic Who, obviously, and those are the ones they sell the most. And I think probably their most popular ones are probably, I would say probably their 8th Doctor range is probably the most popular. The only reason I'm saying that is because the 8th Doctor has his own separate range, but also there's multiple Eighth Doctor Rangers running at the same time. So clearly that they know they're making some money on the Eighth Doctor range. So that's probably their highest priority is the Eighth Doctor range. I'm just seeing that from looking at it from a pure business perspective. That's the most amount of ranges that are coming out at once, the most amount of stories that come out. And then there's probably their main range and then Fourth Doctor ranges that come after that. But it doesn't mean that they won't release one, but they might just release it just to keep the BBC happy and then kind of forget about it for a bit and maybe release the odd one. And what's my evidence for this? Do you remember the Class box sets? Yeah, do you remember? I actually reviewed one of them. And Big Finish knew, they knew that the Class box sets were not going to sell. Well, so what did they do? Well, they did a tried and trusted thing. They made one of them a sort of sequel, but not really, to Remembrance of the Daleks, and also brought back Sophie Aldred as an adult Ace in that story. And because of that, it got people like me to buy the Class Part 2 box set. And obviously there was the announcement of a third box set, but there's obviously a massive gap between that one and this one. They've kind of took a year off doing one, so it's obviously not a high priority. And to be honest, despite they were limited, the CDs were limited to 500. They took forever. I think they only just sold out late last year, or possibly the start of this year. They were in stock for ages, and they are not hard to find, even on eBay. So, see what you like about Class, if you love it or hate it, but that was not a popular thing, generally. Big Finish, puts them out. They clearly did not sell that well. I think they sold at, bare minimum amounts for Big Finish to sort of, break even on them. But I think that was more to keep the BBC happy more than anything else. So yeah, that was what they did with Class, and they might do a similar thing here. It might be vastly popular, but I doubt it. And also, all these people who are saying, oh yeah, they definitely should do this. Can I just say, how many of these people who say, yes, they should do Ruth Doctor spin-offs and that, okay, how many of these people, can I ask, legitimately, and don't lie, how many of you would actually buy that? Pay money to get that, to watch that? Well, not watch, listen to it. How many of you would? Who would want that spin-off? Legitimately. And if you say yes, then put your money where your mouth is. If they do ever announce one, then fucking buy it. And we'll see. I mean, I won't fucking be buying it. The latest Big Finish that I've bought or pre-ordered is Susan's War, which comes out next month. At the time of recording, I think it comes out at the 29th of April, something like that. But regardless, it does make me a bit nervous for Big Finish. And it also makes me wondering, because Nick Briggs might very well think this. And if he does, then that's fine, that's his own opinion on it. Or whether he's just because the thing is, a lot of people have been theorising about what Nicholas Briggs really thinks, and I think this is a kind of thing that, because Nick Briggs is, pretty much one of the only people still working on Doctor Who that who is universally liked and respected, who is still working on it. Because, and I'm talking about just universe, I don't think, no one's had any, to be honest, I've never seen people in the Doctor Who communities or fandoms or whatever you want to call it have problems with Nick Briggs before. Obviously Joey Waker, very divisive subject. Chris Chibnall, even more divisive subject. I mean, even people who love Jodie Waker kind of are now hating Chris Chibnall a bit because he's not a good writer. At least not for Doctor Who. I couldn't. Torchwood is a different story. But Doctor Who, no. He's basically what I call a bare minimum, where he'll put the absolute bare minimum he willingly can, unless he's doing something like this, the time style, which was not well thought out. It was not well thought out. And a lot of people are doing a lot of mental gymnastics to try and make everything fit together. Where they literally... I saw Batman March's video where he did do a lot of theorizing gymnastics in order to try and make everything work, and it really doesn't. It really doesn't. I mean, you can literally... Okay, at the end of the day, you can make anything make sense or fit together if you give it enough liberties. You know, if you say, oh, but this, oh, but this, oh, but this. You can make anything fit together, but logistically, if you look on it and take it on, and step back and look at something on face value, does that make any fucking sense? Does this fit into what's already been established? No, not really. So, yeah. And, though, there's also the other side where people are saying, I'm leaving the fandom and that, and I will never watch Doctor Who again, and da-da-da. I'm not on that side either. Like, I said it, I will still continue to watch Doctor Who. Even if I stop watching, the new series, which is seriously more and more tempting every day, I will still continue to watch classic Who. I mean, for example, today I was watching Edge of Destruction, which, to us, I think is a really underrated story, and I think it is really chilling and fantastic. At least episode 1 is. Episode 2, we've got a different director, and it's fucking obvious. It's still good, but the tone's a bit very different. But yeah, I guess, I don't know. Oh look, eBay. I was curious on what they were the whole time. But yeah, I don't really have much more to say on that. At the end of the day, it is what it is. And to be honest, if Big Finish do decide to do that in their range, then, if I can just ignore it, then fine. If it's something that they'll do, hey, we've released these, you can buy them if you want, just like the Class box set, just like even the Diary of River Song box sets, and other spin-offs and whatever, or the Unbound series, then, it's just like, it's there, you can listen to it if you want, but, it's not going to change the whole way that Big Finish is ran and how the stories are written. Because at the end of the day, Nick Briggs might see this and, the BBC is probably really desperate for Big Finish to try and go in the same sort of stylings as Series 11 and 12 are. Because, the BBC are bloody like. But they're not. They're still not as of yet. But because Big Finish, unlike the BBC, Big Finish rely on people actually paying for their stuff and buying it. And unlike the BBC, who just doesn't give a shit if the stuff makes any money or not, or gets any views, or if people like it or whatever, Big Finish, they kind of need that. And with Nicholas Briggs, does he legitimately think this? Or which is most likely probably does? Or, is he just saying this to try and keep the BBC happy? And that, I mean, you can look at it whatever way you want. But at the end of the day, if it's something that can just be ignored and we continue, because new series, that's fucked at the minute. Until we get someone new in the new series to wreck on, then it's basically fucked at the minute, at least from my point of view. But Big Fish, I think we can... For now, we're safe with that. For now, we're safe with that, and I imagine we're probably going to have a delay of big finishes because the other day they did announce that they're stopping recordings. But obviously, Big Finish normally record things sometimes even years in advance. So, and they also said that any ones that they've announced with dates and that, they'll still come out whenever. Because they'll be playing months in advance. Like, even if the physical copies get delayed, they can release the digital ones instantly. So, Susan's War, which is the one that I've pre-ordered that comes out next, even though the physical copy may be delayed, the digital copy should still come out. Although then again, the one that I'm tempted to get is the First Doctor Volume 4, and those of people have actually received them, so yeah. Anyway, that's it for this video. I've kind of rambled quite a bit in this, and let me know what you think on this. I mean, if you're going to continue to buy Big Fish, then yeah, I'm going to. It's not going to stop me unless, the quality severely goes downhill. Then I'm going to continue to buy Big Finish. Nick Briggs, I don't agree with what he said in this, but, that's up to him, and I don't know what he truly, if that is what he truly does think. I don't know what goes through his head when he's talking about this and that, and what, if anything he has to say to please things or calm things down. But regardless, that's it for this video, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.